What's going on, guys? We are back at it, covered Travel Addicts, and today we have another video. Due to the United States being a high-risk COVID-19 location, we face many travel restrictions from many destinations, in addition to being banned from over 30 countries. Here is a list of destinations U.S. travelers can visit right now with minimum to no travel restrictions. These locations will have no 14-day quarantines, deposits, and you can visit for non-essential purposes. Make sure you get tested and practice healthy habits at home and while traveling, even after this corona pandemic ends. So smash that like button, turn your notifications, and subscribe for travel news, updates, and more dope travel content. Stay tuned. On June 11, Turkey opened for international tourism. As of now, travelers do not need any specific health documentation to either enter or exit Turkey unless they're arriving for medical treatment. But you will be required to complete a travel locator form and monitor for symptoms via temperature check, PCR testing, and other measures. If you arrive to Turkey testing positive for COVID-19, you and whoever you've been in contact with will be subject to quarantine for 14 days. All individuals must wear face coverings in public places, and local authorities may implement curfews at little to no notice. But overall, if you enter Turkey with good health standings and follow protocol and procedures, you'll be good to go while you're there. The Maldives government has no plan to quarantine tourists when they arrive and has been open for tourism since July 15th. There is no testing requirement. However, if you have COVID-19 symptoms such as sneezing, coughing, and abnormal temperatures, you will be tested. You must also fill out a health declaration form twice, one which is 24 hours before the flight and another one when you depart, and I will have the link below in the description. You must follow social distancing guidelines and wear masks at all public places, and before arriving at the hotel, you will undergo a non-intrusive temperature check and screening. Testing will also be available in Maldives for tourists who requires COVID-19 results to return to their countries or origins or other destinations. Haiti is another destination that many U.S. citizens can travel to with minimum restrictions. Although government officials said they will impose a 14-day quarantine, but as of July 2nd, no date has been set for this to take effect. It is also mandated that tourists self-declare their COVID-19 status and complete a health declaration form to submit to immigration authorities. On arrival, they must have their temperature screened and provide an accurate address for visitation. Masks are required, and be advised, entry requirements may change with short to little notice. Belarus has not implemented any entry restrictions, but foreign citizens arriving in Belarus are subject to 14-day self-quarantine requirements. However, on June 25th, the United States was removed from that mandatory quarantine list unless they arrive from particular countries, which I have listed as well. So the minimum requirements are you must have a valid medical insurance, protective masks, which are mandatory, and present a medical certificate with a 48-hour negative COVID-19 test. Tanzania is the only destination that I have to put a travel disclaimer on. Reason being, the Tanzanian government has not released any updated numbers on COVID-19 cases or deaths since April 29th. So the U.S. Embassy, who monitors coronavirus cases across the world, cannot provide any specific guidance for U.S. citizens in Tanzania. But for people that do want to travel, tourists must fill out a health surveillance form on the plane or on any other form of transportation and submit them to port health authorities upon arrival. And all travelers arriving will be subjected to intensive screening and given COVID-19 testing if necessary. Croatia is a really nice destination to go visit. I also have an in-depth video covering key elements and things to do while you're there to help maximize your travel experience. In regards to travel restrictions, starting July 10th, U.S. citizens visiting Croatia for tourism, business purposes, or other travel endeavors must have a negative PCR test no older than 48 hours. That time frame starts when you take the swab test until you arrive at the border. So make sure you coordinate your testing and your flight to avoid any potential issues, because they will let you in Croatia with a post 40-hour test, but you will be subjected to self-isolation and you will have to take another test at your own expense. You should also check cancellation policies for your travel purchases, such as flights, hotel, and excursions. So if you test positive, you can handle that situation accordingly. If you have a positive test in Croatia, you will be isolated for at least 7 days before you can take another test. And if you refuse to take a test or you don't bring the test results, it will be 14 days self-isolation. Health inspectors are monitoring, so if you do not follow self-isolation measures, violators can be fined up to $4,600 US even as a first-time offender. However, if you have a negative COVID test within 48 hours, you will receive a pamphlet with recommendations for best health practices and wear a protective mask in all public areas. So overall, if you follow procedures, you will just need a negative PCR test within 48 hours and a protective mask. Puerto Rico is open for tourism on July 15th. Travel restrictions are as follows. First, you are required to fill out a travel declaration form. I'll have the link below in the descriptions to access. It is also available at the airport kiosks. Secondly, you must have a negative molecular COVID test. They're only accepting nasal and throat swabs, which must be taken 72 hours prior to arrival, and you must have that result submitted to officials at the airport. You will need an airport exit confirmation. You will receive that when you upload your test results. And before you leave the airport, you will be subject to temperature screening. So even if you have a negative test result and you show symptoms when you leave the airport, you will be quarantined for 14 days. And obviously, if you test positive, you will be mandated for a 14-day quarantine as well for further evaluation. And in both scenarios, you will be responsible for extended stay costs and medical coverages. In addition, Puerto Rico also follows the CDC and EPA social distancing guidelines, so masks are mandatory and violators will be fined. But overall, if you're in good health testing wise, you will need only a molecular test, declaration form, and a mask.